And here we go. Hello, pirates. It is time to talk about the speech giving process. Here is your I will, I can statement for the day. Today, I will list and correctly order the steps of the speech giving process so I can write my own speech. That is what you are working toward, being able to write your own speech. But first things first, we got to break this down a little bit into the actual speech giving process. Let me show you what that looks like. Some of you are probably thinking, hey, why are we writing? This is speech. We should be talking. Well, before you can speak well, you must learn to write well. And anyone who speaks for a living will back this up. I almost guarantee it. Writing is a process that involves many steps, and each step is important in making the next step easier or more manageable. The speech process and the writing process do look similar. You brainstorm an idea, a concept, or what it is that you're actually wanting to do within whatever assignment you've been given. Then, when you have to research your topic, once you get all of your facts and figures and everything, you're going to write an outline, and then you take that outline and you actually do some writing. Then you revise your writing. And this is where the difference between speech giving and writing an essay comes in. Then you have to practice giving your speech. Then you present your speech, and then you reflect on how things went while you were giving your speech. Okay. So let's start with brainstorming. Brainstorming is the uninhibited process of generating ideas to further explore. Uninhibited means there's nothing in the way. So brainstorming is a process where nothing gets in the way of your ideas, and it's just a free-flowing thing. You need to respect your own thoughts and respect the thoughts of others when you're brainstorming, because there is no such thing as a bad idea when brainstorming. Don't judge your own ideas, because you might think to yourself, oh, that's a stupid idea. But what if that had been the idea that got you to the next one, kind of like a bridge? Well, you would never have gotten to the other side because you shot your own idea down. So don't judge your own ideas, and don't force it. Let your mind rest. How many times have you wanted to come up with the name of an actor or an actress, and you knew some movies they were in, but you couldn't think of their name? And you're like, oh man, it's driving me crazy. And then 2, 3, 4 hours later, maybe even a day later, you're at lunch, and all of a sudden it just comes into your mind. Oh, that's the name that I was trying to think of. That's because your mind needs to rest. Just like, if you're a runner, you need to rest your legs every once in a while. Well, your brain needs to rest as well. Okay, so don't force it. Let your mind rest. Researching. Research is the exploration of various sources for the purposes of acquiring further knowledge. In other words, it's going out and getting the information that you need. Where can you go? Can you go to Wikipedia? Sure, that's a great place to start. It's just that you cannot cite Wikipedia as a source. But if you go to Wikipedia, you will see what are called footnotes or superscripts. They're little numbers or little letters that are in the text. If you scroll down all the way to the bottom, it'll say references, and it'll have all of those footnotes referenced. And if you click on them, some of them will take you to the original article. So if you go to Wikipedia, that's a great place to start. You can get a good overview. You can find some other things that you may want to look at when you're researching. It's just that you can't use Wikipedia as a source. Internet sites, absolutely, but you have to make sure that they are credible. In other words, can they be believed? So if you are researching something about the law and you come across a blog from a lawyer, that's good. You can use that. Books on specific subjects are great. You do not need to read the entire book. If you are doing a speech on the Battle of Gettysburg and you check out a book about the Civil War, you don't need to read the whole book. You only need to read the parts that have to do with what it is that you're researching, and then you would cite the parts that you actually read. Articles. These are what you might read in magazines, journals, newspapers, periodicals. Periodicals are things that come out frequently, like once a month, once a year, every 6 months, that sort of thing. That's what makes it a periodical. All right, so then once you've got your research, you've got facts, then you're going to go on to the outlining phase. An outline is the skeletal framework of a speech. It should look very simple. These are where you have the big ideas and a quick mention of details. But you don't need complete sentences, and you don't need to go on and on about anything. Just hit the big stuff. You've got your research. Just figure out how you're going to organize things, where you're going to put it. Okay? Organization is a big deal when it comes to putting your thoughts down on paper. Also, outlining can reveal any gaps that you might have in your research, like, oh, I forgot to cover that, or any unanswered questions that you might have. If you put an outline together, it's going to probably show that. Then you move on to writing, which is exactly what it sounds like. Okay, I like to say belching it out. Once you have something down on paper, then you can work with it. When you don't have anything, it's very difficult to do anything organizational wise or grammar wise, because you don't have anything yet. So just get something down, and then you can work with it later. Your rough draft is where you expand on the thoughts from the outline. Now you want complete sentences. Now you want to put in your transition words like first, next, last, then, finally. Okay? And this is going to logically connect various ideas and pieces of evidence in your speech to one another. After you've written, you're going to revise. This is basically where you just check what you wrote. You're going to look for accuracy in your information. You're going to look at spelling, grammar, punctuation. All that stuff is important. And also attribution. So according to, or sources say, or something like that, that's what attribution is. It's where you found what it is that you found that you're wanting to talk about. Self-revision versus peer revision. There's familiarity versus fresh eyes. If you're revising your own stuff, it's almost like sometimes it can be too close to you and you won't notice, things that should jump out. But if you give it to a friend or a parent or somebody like that with fresh eyes, they may notice more things and bring your attention to more things that you just kind of overlooked because you were too close to it. This is where you're going to rewrite and make your corrections. And those revisions could come in the form of local revisions or global. Local would be like if you forgot to put a comma somewhere or you forgot to capitalize something. Small. Real small. Global, those are the bigger things. Like, hey, this entire paragraph needs to be moved around. Or you need to rewrite this whole section. Okay, that's a big global revision. Practice by giving your speech to a small audience. If there's no small audience, practice in front of a mirror. Practice in front of the family pet, okay, your dog. But get the practice down, okay? It's informal, meaning it's, you're not expected to do everything right the first time. It's unpolished, okay? But the more you go through it with repetition, the better you're going to get and the more polished you're going to get. So it's very important that you practice. And you should practice in front of somebody that can actually give you feedback. Yes, if you practice in front of the mirror, that's good. You practice in front of the family pet, that's good. But the dog isn't going to be able to tell you that you sway to the left and the right too much, or that you put your hands behind your back in a weird way. So you're going to want to find somebody that can give you that sort of feedback. And that feedback is important because it's going to let you know what you need to work on as you continue to practice. All right, then it's time to present. You're going to give your speech to your intended audience. These are the things that you are going to be graded on when you give your speech in class. Poise, voice, life, eye contact, gestures, and speed. And we will talk about all of these as the quarter goes on. You don't necessarily need to worry about them right now. All right, so you've given your speech, but you're not done. After speaking, you always want to think about your performance. What went well? What can I do next time to add to what went well? What could I have done or what could have gone better? Was there anything that I completely forgot to do? I almost guarantee some of you, when you get up there, you will forget to start with your hook. And that's important. Don't come out and tell us, my speech is about, and then fill in the blank. Like, that's not how you start a speech, okay? What are the things that didn't go well, the result of not planning or not practicing? And usually, this is the case. I can tell when people have not practiced or practiced enough before they get up there and they give their speeches. Okay, that is it. You have a couple of assignments on Canvas. Good luck.